Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, the camera had a problem. We're getting a new camera tomorrow, but we're doing the podcast today anyway. So, this is Dr. Richie Cohen, and I am Stacy Roseman. And I want to welcome you today, and we're really glad to see you. So, what are we going to talk about today, Richie?
Well, we're going to talk about certain issues that can come up in relationships. And we'll start out by talking about how the differences between men and women. On a neurotic level, Stacy, men are dealing with different issues than women.
Right.
Men are dealing with castration anxiety, where what happens is that they they feel very competitive, and if you want to get a man angry, you tell them their car's not big enough, or
Okay.
they don't perform well enough in bed, and they're going to get very upset because it's bringing up a lot of castration issues and a lot of competitive problems.
Right.
Women, on the other hand, are not dealing with the similar issues. Women are dealing with fears of engulfment, fears of being differentiated from their mother and not feeling loved and special. So if you want to get a woman angry, you'll tell her you don't want to talk to her. If you say that to a guy, he'll
Yeah.
say, no problem, I don't care, we don't have to talk. But a woman is not going to feel special if you don't want to talk to her. If you tell her her car's not big enough or she's not good enough in bed, she doesn't care.
Oh, I might care.
Okay, well,
No, I'm only joking. Seriously, I'm only joking. Those aren't the important things to me. The important things are the big things: our health, our family, our friends. Right?
yes.
Yes. Okay.
I agree, Stacy. And so, therefore, it's very important to understand the psychodynamics of a woman. Women are usually dealing with lovability dilemmas.
Okay.
And they want to feel special and loved. A man wants to feel potent because of those two different psychodynamics that they're dealing with.
Okay.
So these are really important things that you need to consider when you're talking to your significant other,
Mhm.
to realize that they're dealing with different kinds of psychodynamic issues that you are. Now, this is all
Like, for example,
a man is usually, these are all, well, it's also important to understand that we're talking about people who have at least made it up to the Oedipal stage of development. If they haven't,
what does that mean, Richie? People don't know what that means.
that means 60% of people have not made it up to the Oedipal stage of development, meaning they're dealing with personality disorders. And they'd be horrible in relationships because these people are very comfortable with their problems and they don't suffer themselves except for their lack of relationship and their frustration and disillusionment in their life.
So, what do you mean they don't suffer themselves? They don't feel?
They make other people suffer, where people with neurotic conflicts are suffering themselves.
Okay.
So that's very important to understand. And people with personality disorders, for the most part, aren't good in relationships.
Okay.
So, but they're hard to smell out because they can be very charming. The narcissistic personality disorder, the borderline personality disorder at the beginning can be very charming. And
Right.
when they've come into my office and I realize what I'm dealing with,
Yeah.
I try to explain to them that their charmingness,
Yes.
they're charming and they have a big smile on their face that they're so charming. But I explain to them their charmingness is not in their best interest or other people's best interests.
Right.
So
Because it's just temporary.
Well,
It's so they can get what their needs met.
it's all their charmingness is to get their needs met rather than truly share and invest their feelings in other people. They're too preoccupied with their own needs and their own power. And loving for them is seeing themselves in others because they don't realize when anybody else is in pain because there's nothing for them to gain. And it's hard for most people to understand these people because they're unlike. There's no analogy in nature to describe their personality because they're so preoccupied with themselves.
Okay.
So, but we're talking about, as I was talking about the differences between men and women, which is great to be talking about right now, because your theme here is guys versus dolls.
Right. But it could be women and women, or it could be men and men. You know, it's relationships.
That's true. So it's important to understand that these are important things to understand. The psychodynamics of a woman is different than the psychodynamics of men. And in general, men are dealing with castration anxiety.
Okay.
Women are dealing with fears of engulfment. And women want to feel loved and special because of that. They want to feel de-differentiated from their mom, where a man wants to feel a man wants to feel potent, and that's what their castration anxiety is all about.
Okay.
So that's an important thing to think about when you're dealing with significant others.
Okay. Now there was the three things, the three questions.
I think Stacy asked me what you need to ask yourself in a relationship. So a relationship is based on sharing. And there may be times when the other person's sick where you want to give any more to the other person.
Right.
But basically, in a relationship, you want to ask yourself three questions. What are my needs? What are their other person's needs? And is there equal sharing of our needs? And if not, why not? And what will happen is that, let's say, you get in a man who has dependency needs.
Okay.
For example, should I give you an example, Stacy? Would
Please.
that be okay?
Examples are always great, right? We love examples, don't we?
Okay, well, let's say I'm thinking about my patient population, and a dependent man gets involved with and smells out on a subconscious level a very nurturing woman. And this can last for a while.
Right.
But what could eventually happen, and I've seen it happen clinically, is unless the woman's your biological mother, she's eventually going to get burned out and figure, I can't really continue to meet this person's needs. And the man's going to feel, what the hell's going on here? Why aren't I don't feel good about myself because I'm not really contributing at all, and I'm just getting taken care of, and their self-esteem gets down. So eventually the woman's going to get burnt out, and the man is going to have some self-esteem issues.
Okay.
And this could take years and years to unfold.
Okay.
So
you've worked with a lot of couples with this type of situation?
I've worked with some couples with this situation. I've worked with many couples throughout the years with many issues, but this is a common issue. So that gives you an example of why it's very important to ask yourself the question and have sharing of needs.
Okay.
And asking those three questions that you just asked me about. And because that's the best kind of relationship where you can share with the other person. And, as I said before, we really have to give the other person some slack when they're sick and everything. And you might give a little bit more. And the narcissistic personality disorder, that's a good way to smell them out, because when you're sick, they're not going to give any more.
They disappear when you're sick.
Yeah, because they're, as I said to you before, a couple minutes
there's
ago.
nothing in it for them.
Exactly, Stacy. There's nothing for them to gain at that point, and they'll go running. So that's important to see. Now, like another thing you might want to is it. Let's digress into something else if you're comfortable with that.
Yes.
Very important in communication.
Yes.
Is to realize. Let's say the other person gets very, very angry at you, and it's out of proportion. The way to dissipate that anger, underneath that anger, is most probably hurt. So you want to say to that person at that time, and a barometer of how angry they are is how hurt they are. So you want to kind of appeal to the underlying emotion of hurt. And let's say that the woman explodes at the man in a relationship and is very angry, and it's out of proportion to really the situation. You might want to say to them at times, you must be feeling really hurt inside. Tell me about your hurt. And as they talk about their hurt, their anger is going to start to dissipate.
It won't escalate. It'll dissipate.
Yeah.
So this is the best way to deal with when a person gets angry.
You know, a barometer of how angry they are
Okay.
is most probably dealing with how hurt they are.
Okay.
So if you get angry back,
Yes.
everything's going to escalate and they're going to feel more hurt inside, more isolated, not understood. But by the way, if you appeal to their hurt,
Right.
they're going to feel very special and very understood. This man understands me and I'm feeling really hurt inside about
Wow.
something. And so they'll be really able to talk more, and it's going to be a way to become closer.
Yeah.
So that's really important to see. But does that make some sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Do you have any feelings about that, Stacey?
I think it's wonderful. I never thought of it until you said it, because I know that, with feelings and when people are grieving, and whatever they're going through a situation, it's really hard with the nervous system out of control to really be grounded and be connected with your true self and be able to articulate what you're really feeling. So yeah, hurt and anger get really confused, just like shame and a lot of other emotions just get really confusing.
Exactly. And I think as you're talking now, you can tell how good a relationship's going to go with three things. Research has shown us this: trust,
Yes.
communication, which we just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to compromise differences, not thinking the same in every way, but to being able to compromise differences. So the communication is really important to do. And as we're talking about communication, there's three ways to communicate with people, and you can to get out points.
Right.
Well, first of all, I use sentences are very, very get people closer to not talk about the third person and other
I
people.
or you.
I see
sentences.
you as
Okay.
feeling very hurt at this time.
Okay.
Can you tell me about that more?
Okay.
Instead of talking about other people, and those are very important things. I use sentences. Also, it's very important to understand that you can communicate with people in three ways.
Okay.
You can be very passive,
Mm-hmm.
you can be aggressive,
Right.
or you can be assertive. Would it be okay with you if we talked about those three? Would you
I-
understand what those three things are? What
I
do you
would
think?
love for you to share your knowledge right here, right now. Right, everyone? Let's go.
Okay, well, thank you, Stacey. But being passive means that you might not say anything to the person, you'll repress it, you'll turn it inward. And if you turn your feelings inward, especially aggression and anger, it can lead to dysphoria and depression. So that's not the best way to handle things.
Right.
Being passive, being aggressive, and screaming, yelling, but the other person's not going to be able to listen, because you notice when I talk to you,
Yes.
if I talk more softly
Right.
to you,
Yes.
you're going to perk up your ears and listen to what I say more. But if I'm going to scream and yell at you, you're going to kind of back off and not even hear what I'm saying.
I'm going to run away.
Please don't run away. So in other words,
You would
But-
never scream with me.
well, I hope that I could be assertive. And in assertiveness, it's three steps. You're going to give good eye contact. You're going to say how you feel. You're going to tell the other person, you're going to say the nicest thing you can to the person first.
Right.
Okay. You're going to say,
Because it makes them feel good.
yes,
And makes them open.
yes. Well, it makes them, you're at least making them, letting them know that there's shades of gray in your talk. It's not a good idea in being aggressive. You're
Right.
going to just say, I can't stand the way you treated me, and I'm leaving right now, and I don't care about you anymore. That would be very aggressive. But if you say, you know, you're really a nice person, and I love so many things about you.
Mhm.
However, when you did this and hurt me, I don't feel good about you, your behaviors, and perhaps, and then you're going to set some limits. Can you try to think about this and maybe treat me a little bit differently in future situations? You're going to modulate your affect as you say these things. Talk in a very soft voice, to not be threatening, and to,
And not be controlling.
of course, that's a good point, Stacy. Yeah, let me finish that, and we'll go on to this point. Uh, you're going to say the nicest thing you can. You're going to tell the person how you feel, and you're going to set some firm limits. And if they didn't hear you, you're going to go to point 2 and 3. You're going to say how you feel, and you're going to set firm limits in a very.
Something just happened with the computer. We're going to have to end this right now, okay? Because it opened up into something that's not supposed to. Okay, thank you. We will see you later next Sunday. Richie?
Good night, everyone. But I just wanted to end things. We could pick up on this next Sunday. But Stacy mentioned one thing about controlling behavior. And in relationships, it's very important that you
We're
respect.
good. We can go now. We're good.
In relationships, it's very important that you respect the other person's autonomy and independence, and want to encourage that because it will help their self-esteem. You don't want to control the other person because they're not going to feel good about themselves or you, and eventually the relationship's going to burn out. So, and they're not going to feel good about themselves, and they're not going to feel good about you. Perhaps in the short run, it may be helpful, but in the long run, it could be very detrimental.
Richie, somebody's asking you to sing a song. Do you have a relationship song? You sang me 8 songs in our wedding.
Okay, well, I could do a song if you want me to, but do people want me to? I've been a little embarrassed. Stacey, do you want me to sing?
Yeah, sure.
Well,
Look at this. It's big ass.
Well, here's.
You want to sing one of your love songs?
As we're talking about relationships, I could talk about the changing relationships and hope for the future.
Okay, that sounds great.
Let me think. I glance into your eyes, and I can see the change. You've created distance. You've put me out of range. You play the game of hide and seek. One day here, next gone. I can't help but question, is there something wrong? One day we soared above the clouds. Our hearts and soul were one. But days don't last forever, and soon you're on the run. Slow down and catch your breath. The dance of life is brief. Be careful not to slip or fall. The journey can be steep. You've got to feel my energy. You've got to feel my love, creating the stability and peace from up above. You've given me someone to love, and time will tell I'm true. Romance can last forever, and our love can too.
Yay. Thank you.
Well, if you wanted me to sing another song, I could sing a song about somebody, what would be important to most people in the relationships. And it's not a narcissistic person with all the glitz and glamour, but what's really deep inside. Would you want me to just sing that for them?
That would be wonderful, yes.
It's kind of a little bit of a folk song, if that's okay.
That's great.
Smooth on the outside, real on the inside, your society's dichotomy. Smiles for all, no matter what you feel. This part does not appeal to me. Your glitter, your walk, your clothes, your talk. your pseudo mutuality, impressing those with superficial eyes. This isn't what you should be. Superficial woman, you can't lose, but you can't win. Running round in circles, avoiding pain and spread too thin. The vulnerable, awkward, timid you, your sentimentality, your shy, self-conscious glance brings out the tenderness in me. Smooth on the outside, real on the inside, your society's dichotomy. Smiles for all, no matter what you feel. This part does not appeal to me. No, no, this part does not appeal to me.
Yay, Richie, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, you guys, please like, comment, and share our podcast. We love the hearts and we love you. Little red heart.
Now, we can diverse in some other subjects, but I think I gave everybody a lot of things to think about. I'm kind of embarrassed that I sung two songs. I know my voice isn't that good, so
No, your voice is great.
So please forgive my awkward voice and my awkward words. But if anybody has any questions, please ask us now or wants to comment on some things. And we could pick up on this next week and some other topics too, if people would like.
That would be a great idea. And another thing that I wanted to talk about was the ASEA stuff too. That's really important. It's really been helping me out. And I wanted to explain how the ASEA.
I think that's going to be a really important point. The mitochondria is a really important thing, and it's an organelle in the cell. It's very, very small, but what happens is in there creates the Krebs cycle, and a lot of ATP gets developed, which is how we deal with energy, and it's very efficiently comes out in the Krebs cycle with aerobic oxidation. And this is very efficient form of energy. That's why when we exercise, it's important to understand if people know that, like when you're running, the first 4 minutes can be horrible because you're in an anaerobic state. If you can get through those first 4 minutes, you can start to get in an aerobic state. And
is that when the runner's high kicks in?
Well, it takes a little bit more to get endorphins.
Yes.
And that's another topic.
Yes.
But this is when efficient breathing and energy takes place. And you I know for me when I'm running, I go into a zone at those times after I get through the first 4 minutes. So it's important to understand, don't stop doing exercise after 4 minutes, because some people stop because they get discouraged because they're in an anaerobic phase.
Okay.
So try to go to an aerobic phase.
So how long does that usually take about? How many minutes?
It's about 4 minutes, Stacy.
You're saying to get through the 4 minutes. It's not like a 20-minute thing.
No.
But you want to do 20, 30 minutes of cardio.
Exactly.
At least.
I'd say about 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Will really be good for your cardiovascular system. What happens there is you get good cardiac output and lung capacity with that, and better venous return. Therefore, you get more blood out because the venous return is so good. You get more blood out in each beat. Therefore, it's very efficient. That's why athletes that are well trained have something called athletic bradycardia, which means their resting heart rate is very low, maybe below 50. And that would be maybe pathological for a non-athlete. Well, mine's pretty good because mine's about 41.
Wow.
But I train pretty hard.
Yes, you do. We know you do. Yes, you do.
I play a lot.
I've never seen anyone train as hard as you do.
Well, I enjoy. But if you can find things you like doing, do them every day. I know I hit tennis balls for an hour and a half or 2 hours every day, and I have the joy of hitting. And then I usually run a 10K every day, and so that's and if you do
plus
these
all the
things,
stretching.
What's very important in my age to be able to do the things I do, to do core work, build a lot of bridges, do pelvic tilts, do a lot of band work,
It's
for
important at every age.
flexibility.
It's important at every age. You're just unbelievable, though. Richie just turned 77 on Wednesday, and he is unbelievable. So, whatever information, helpful tips he can give you, I would definitely listen up.
Well, you gave an important point. At my age, I consider, I was very competitive when I was younger. I played for Penn. I played a lot of big tournaments, and I was very competitive. I really want to beat everybody. I was very Oedipal. And now I see tennis as congenial, and I try to give back to other people. Yesterday at a country club, I try to help people with
Mhm.
mental toughness, and always the people I hit with, I try to give them little tips on mental toughness whenever we hit. So at my age, I try to help other people.
You've always tried to help other people,
Well,
Richie.
Well, that's really kind of you, but I was a little more, one of my Oedipal issues came out when I was younger.
Okay. But you decided to become a psychiatrist because of this, too. And a wonderful psychiatrist.
If I
Philly's finest.
somebody's job, you need to get two things out of a job.
Yes.
You need to really be paid for your time,
Mhm.
and you also feel like you're doing some social good,
Uh-huh.
no matter what you're doing. And then research has shown that if you get those two things out of work, you get a lot back. And so those are important, and you could be, and one of the things you even contributing to society and making money and contributing to society is doing social good also. So those are important things to understand.
Okay. I think we did it for tonight. What do you think?
I'm fine. If anybody has some questions, please speak now.
Yeah, I think we're good. So we are sending our love and we are saying goodbye for the night. And we'll see you next Sunday.
Look forward to seeing everybody then. Take care.
Please
Bye-bye.
like, comment, and share our podcast. Bye-bye.